Hello again, precious friends. Thank you for coming back to Aunt Patty's Kitchen on the Carnivore Hippie. I know I haven't posted in a little bit. Sometimes life just catches up to you and you got to do what you got to do. But I thank you and bless you for your patience and for joining me again today. Today, we're going to make something very delicious and very, very easy. And it's something that I like to do, especially when I'm tired. I find it really comforting. It's very, very easy and quick to make. And I think you will like it too. And everybody probably who is here knows I really love Asian cuisine. I grew up on the West Coast in the Bay Area of California, which frankly has some of the best Asian food outside of Asia proper, frankly. It's been a gateway for the Asian community to enter the US for 150 years. And there's just such a wealth of Asian culture there: Chinese, Japanese, Malaysian, um, uh, all of the Far Eastern nations are represented there. And the food from you can just get food from everywhere, and it's really good food and really authentic food. So what we're going to make today is a Chinese shrimp or prawn omelet. You'll call it shrimp or prawn depending on where you live, but technically shrimps and prawns are different beasts, but culinarily they're exactly the same, so it really doesn't matter if you have shrimps and call them prawns or have prawns and call them shrimps. It doesn't really matter. Chinese shrimp or prawn omelet. Okay, let's get started. We're going to start, of course, with our hardware, as we always do. Pardon me while I move my camera. First off, we are going to have a skillet. This is an electric skillet, but you can do this on the stovetop in any old skillet. We're going to turn it on here to about 400. There we go, because we want our nice and hot too. Let's get some better light. There we go. Nice and hot to heat up our shrimp. So while that's heating, we're going to have a spatula. This is a non-stick, so we're having a nylon spatula. A knife, which you'll see, of course, for later, and the ubiquitous silicone scraper spoon, which I always use one of these because I just love them. They're so great. Anyway, that's getting hot really fast, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Now, we're going to turn things around, and we're going to talk about our software or wetware, however you want to put it. We have 200 grams. That's a little bit less than half a pound of shrimp, some ghee or clarified butter, or you could just regular butter if you wanted to. A couple of tablespoons of water and 4 beaten eggs. We also have half of a minced shallot, medium-sized minced shallot, and a couple of tablespoons to taste of chopped cilantro, or you could use parsley if that's what you have. Hang on, I'm going to fix the light a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. It's a little bit dark. Sorry about that. I have the light that I have. Anyway, we're also going to use a little bit of fish sauce and a little bit of soy sauce. These are just for flavor. You can leave them out if you don't want to use them. Soy sauce has wheat. Fish sauce, I don't know if it has anything that it might bother anybody, but they're just for taste. So you can just leave them out. If you just want shrimp and eggs, you can just do shrimp and eggs and some of our homemade chili sauce for serving. So what I want to show you right now is I want to show you how I've cut up the shrimp. Now, you can use the shrimp whole if you want to, but I like them in little chunks. I find the omelet is easier to eat. So I have some 2025 shrimp here, which means between 20 and 25 of them to the pound is about the size. They're all called extra large in some places. But anyway, usually you can find the number 2025s. And so what I'm going to do is I like to chop this up into just little dice. And so what I do is I cut a little bit of a bigger part off the tail because that's really skinny. And then I cut this remaining part into 2 pieces. And that gives me relatively uniform chunks of shrimp, which will cook in a relatively uniform way. So once again, cut a little bit, maybe about 2/3 of an inch off the tail, and then cut the rest into 3 pieces. Okay, one last time. I hope you can see this. I don't have a good zoom on this, so there, there, there. Okay, these shrimp are thawed, of course, and they've also been rinsed and patted dry on paper towels because you don't want them wet when they go into the skillet. Now, the rest we're going to prep. We got a couple of tablespoons of water that we're going to beat in with our eggs because that's going to help keep the eggs tender. And this is 4 eggs. 4 large chicken eggs beaten up with 2 tablespoons of water. If you're lucky enough to have duck eggs, you could use duck eggs, or you could use 3 or 4 dozen quail eggs, I suppose, if you wanted to put yourself through that. Here we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put just a little bit of fish sauce in here. That's probably about a teaspoon. And a little bit of soy sauce, maybe about a teaspoon. And just beat that up. There we go. Now we're set. Now we're going to go back over here to our skillet, our electric skillet. We're going to get it heated up. I'm putting it on 400, but you'll put it on medium-high heat if you're doing it on the stove. And we're going to start with a couple of tablespoons of, this is ghee, which is a browned clarified butter, which I love to use for anything with eggs or shrimp. But you can use any kind of fat you want. You can use tallow, you can use bacon fat, you can use olive oil, you can use whatever kind of fat you feel comfortable with, whatever kind of fat is going to be good for you, as long as it has a relatively high smoke point. So this is hot now, and what we're going to do is we are going to put in our shallot and just stir this around right quick. This is going to get smoky, so I'm going to turn this down. And we're going to put in our shrimp. And this is going to cook up really super fast. This is what I love about this recipe. Once you get everything chopped up, it takes like 5 minutes. Boy, this cooled off fast. Okay, we're going to raise it a little bit. You can do this in a real hot skillet and get some browning on the shrimp if you want to, or you can do it at a lower temperature and just cook the shrimp more gently. The important thing is we want a good slick of butter in the bottom of the pan, and we want our shrimp to be just cooked. We don't want them to be too cooked, not overdone, because we're going to be cooking them some more once the eggs go in. See, now everything's pretty much pink, They're not quite 100% done, but that's okay. That's perfect. Now we're going to lower the temperature a little bit to about 300. And we're going to pour in our seasoned eggs. Pour in our seasoned eggs. And our cilantro. If you don't like to do green, if you're avoiding all plants, you just leave this out. And now we're going to stir this a little bit just to get it started cooking. This is called an omelet, but I don't want you to stress out if it doesn't end up like an omelet. If it ends up looking like a bowl full of scrambled eggs, you know what? That's fine, because it's going to taste good. And as my mom always says, it's all going down the same hole. But I like to stir it around a little bit. This is a non-stick vessel. I like to stir it around a little bit and get it started. Get it heated up. Move the more liquid part into the center. And we're going to cover that for a little bit and let that finish cooking. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about shrimp. So I'm probably going to do a video about shrimp because there's a lot about shrimp that I find there's a lot of misunderstanding about how shrimp should be bought. I know there's a lot of frozen shrimp in the market recently, and that's the way you're going to find most of the shrimp that you buy. And there's a lot of talk about how you shouldn't buy frozen shrimp because of tripolyphosphate, and probably you should avoid that. But there are shrimp that are available without the tripolyphosphate, and you just want to look and see on the label if the label says shrimp and salt. If you can't find shrimp and you really need shrimp for whatever reason, you can't find them without being treated by the tripolyphosphate, what you can do is you can put them in a bowl of cold water, about twice the volume of water that of the shrimp. So if you have, just put the shrimp in a big bowl and cover them with eyeball about twice the volume of water and let them soak in the refrigerator for several hours and then change the water again. That will get most of that chemical out. But better if you can get it without the tripolyphosphate. And the frozen shrimp don't really need the tripolyphosphate, because what that does is that helps the shrimp that have been frozen and then thawed again to retain moisture. And actually, if you buy what's labeled fresh shrimp at the store, you're more likely to get treated shrimp, because most shrimp that you buy in the store has been frozen at one point and is thawed by the store to be sold as fresh. So my opinion is I always buy my shrimp frozen. I look for an ingredient list that just says shrimp and salt, and thaw it. Buy it individually quick frozen in big bags and just thaw the amount I need at one time and cook it immediately. And if you do that, you don't need treated shrimp. You can be confident that the shrimp that you are buying is the highest quality that's available. Frozen shrimp is almost always higher quality than fresh shrimp, unless you're on the coast and you're buying it directly from the boat or from the big commercial fish markets, which you can do in some places. I know they had one in San Francisco, which was near where I lived. and they have them in LA and they have them in Seattle. All the big port cities on the coast that have fisheries have a big nighttime fish market where you can buy the absolute freshest stuff. If you want to go through going down there and doing that, it's actually pretty fun. But anyhow, so we're looking down here, and we're getting close to being done. We want to put the lid on it so that the top will cook. It's still a little bit soft, but you can see it has solidified up into an omelet. If you like it soft on the top, you can just eat it now. But if you want to, there's a lot of people who just really don't tolerate soft eggs very well. So I'm going to show you what you can do. It's not going to be as pretty, but if you really want it more done, you can just chop it in half like this. This is going to break up. Oh, well, we're going to have scrambled eggs, but that's okay. Yep. Oh, well. Boy. There we go. Oh, that's so pretty and attractive. My cooking school teacher would be so proud of me. Here's a piece of shrimp that didn't get in there. Okay, anyway. Don't worry about how it looks. It's going to taste awesomely magnificent, I promise you. But this is going to be cooking for another little bit while the top browns. Or, you know, if you're doing this on a skillet on the stovetop, and the reason I'm not doing it in a skillet on the stovetop is because it's really a pain to record over there. You can turn on your broiler and you can put the pan, once the bottom is done, you can put the pan under your broiler for 4 or 5 minutes, and that will cook the top right up, and you won't have to worry about flipping anything. But we are just about done here. I'm going to get my serving bowl and my fork. Here we go. And this is done. You can see how fast this goes. And like I said, you can make it even faster if you just want to continue to stir it around until it's done. That makes it cook even faster. So here we go. This is 4 eggs and 200 grams of shrimp meat. And, you know, this could be 2 servings. But I'm going to eat it all. Here it is. I hope you can see it. I can't tell if you got good lighting on it or not, unfortunately. This lighting in here today is very, very problematic. But it smells wonderful. I love the little brown part of the eggs. That's not very, very French as far as omelets go, but it is, there's lots of cultures who like the browning on their eggs. So even though it's not very French, even though we call it an omelet, don't worry about browning. And I'm going to put a little bit of my homemade sweet chili sauce on top there. Again, it's just for taste. You do what you want. You can eat this just plain. You can just do this with eggs and shrimp and a little bit of salt and pepper if you want to, or just eggs and shrimp plain. It's going to be delicious. And here we go. Oops. Eggs and shrimp are so good together. And the sweet chili sauce is spicy and tangy and a tiny bit sweet. The eggs are tender. And the cilantro just gives a little tiny kick of freshness and greenness that I really appreciate. I do like vegetables. Most of them don't like me very much, so but I do appreciate that little hint of green taste in a big bite of something that's the eggs are and the shrimp are very rich tasting, and that little greenness and the little spiciness from the sauce just really rounds out the mouthful. So that's all for right now, precious friends. I will be back very, very soon with another video. I've been experimenting, and hopefully you will find it as edifying as I have. And we're going to be, based on the experimenting I've been doing, we're going to do another series of 5 things that you can do with the new experiment that I've been working on. So until I see you again, which will be very, very soon, precious friends, I wish you peace, love, and meat, and shrimp omelets. Bye.